Schmoedown rockers, and even dungeon heads. Well, it's a good day of hell. Hell, remember, hell doesn't even in the Gucci verse at this point. In general, I mean, and the action dungeon portion of it, too. By the way, yeah. Team Sherman's looking mighty fine. But it's mostly because Deception screwed themselves. But, well, you know what? We're going to get to even more of that bullshit, by the way. But until we get to that, apparently some things had happened. The Gubbins versus Rick Radis, the Rager himself. I had a hard time picking whoever won. And given the way this match went, kind of felt whether or not whoever won or not, it really didn't matter about my feelings towards how I felt about my feelings towards going into this match. Most likely everybody was thinking Peggy, was surprised how things turned out the way they did, and somehow that match the fact that the undercard went to sudden death like it did, and I think it's going to be one of the better rookie matches that have come out so far. Or at least, in terms of the singles at least, it'll be definitely one of the more talked about rookie matches of the season. Bar none. Just besides Peggy's previous match with Paige Reddy, she's a nice lady. She's a nice lady. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. So good. Yeah, I shouldn't even do him. Fuck that shit. But yes, man. It's a better week to be Dungeon, that's for sure. I don't think anybody was surprised with Harper, given, Hoy was able to beat Whitley. Whitley just seems to stumble a lot for some strange reason in round 2. And the D has become a joke. He forgot his D! Just as much, I don't know who's worse about forgetting their D. Whitley or Commissioner of the FCL himself, the boat, Brad Gilmore. Who knows? But yes, I enjoyed, as Dungeon Master, everything that just happened here. It was... I enjoyed it. Good for JTE. I was sort of hoping that, maybe Liz will get a little bit more of a comeback going in. But it seems that competition is going to be too stacked for her to deal with. And Wilker finally decided to come to play all of a sudden. I mean, though he hasn't been in teams lately, and it's clear JTE himself, ever since his Goddard match, has been coming to play. And he's been on a streak comparable to whatever he was on during that teams, that singles, specifically when it comes to singles, how he's been with singles, and reminding everybody why he was one half of the longest reigning tag team champions. Besides the fact that tag team division didn't have much anything for competition, even though it technically should have, but for some reason those so-called teams never lived up to their potential. Oh, steel! And they came closer, and then just above the line happened. And then that team became the team. So it's not like... and then it's like Riley can't catch a break for teams. It's funny how they were willing to call him teams champ. That was in the Top Gun thing, which luckily that is exhibition. That was a screw up, I think, on Brad's part. But I think he let it... But I think Mark Riley let that one slide. And that one was a close to the wire thing. And in that regard of that, Riley, good for you. But other than that, oh my God. Good for him. He needed some kind of bragging rights. Bateman will be back. I just wish he was doing it while still in Dungeon Time and while still playing Dungeon Ball, which they freaking did. And there's everyone was expecting Harper, so there wasn't much to talk about there. Gibbons was crazy. I don't think anybody expected But it was a tough first question. But now it shows now the question writers are stepping up so much so that not even Alex Damon could come back and get his belt back just like that. Because the moment he missed his first question, the moment he missed his first question, everybody was already immediately saying it was over. I don't think so. He didn't get knocked out or TKO'd. You know, it just became to the point where this second battle between the two of them was becoming a little more reminiscent of what happened between, or at least the way the game played itself out. It became in terms of a championship match. It felt this Star Wars championship match felt reminiscent of, dare I say, the IG match between Chandru and Smasher. Only this time it was more so Damon being on the challenging side and Smith was. And that Smith thing was a lot rougher and harder to go back to watch because of the circumstances that we've eventually come to find out with his cancer. Oh, but and hoping he'll eventually come back to the dungeon and not wind up on another faction because I really don't want a civil war right now. I've seen it happen in the army. It's not pretty. Actually, there's not pretty. It's not pretty. I mean, we're probably kind of already borderlining Gucci Civil War given the way the freaking standings are between the Finstock Exchange and us in the dungeon. But as far as we're concerned, between the two of us, as long as we remain in the top two, the Gucciverse wins. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's a good win. And hell, even Action Dungeon wins too. So yeah. And it was a tight match, and then seriously, and then I do feel like, man, but over on that title match is damn good. It was going to be hard to follow up what happened there. Plus, this literally came out this match was literally within the week after having just faced Kalinowski in IG. I don't think he was as focused, as nearly laser focused as he needed to be for Star Wars because of it, I think. Because he had a time gap in between his time in the IG tournament and his time in there. And I feel like that gave him plenty of time to where, because he always had these nice little time gaps in between that I think allowed him to have the time to recoup and the time to study up that he needed to allow himself to have been the champion that he was for the 3 years that he had been. And he didn't get that this time around. And I think, and now needs time to recoup until the Star Wars tournament, possibly IG tournament. I'm not sure on that, or at least until the ultimate Star Wars tournament, that is, as opposed to the current one that's going on. And now we know it's going to be the rematch between Dimolata and Laura Kelly, and I have a weird feeling somehow maybe Kelly could pull it off, but I'm hopeful this time for Dimolata that he can. I mean, he got to beat Damon and retain against him, something that Laura Kelly and no other player can say that they had. And and all he's got to do is further prove that by setting his vengeance on beating Laura Kelly and showing, yeah, I'm the champ. Not Damon, not you. That's what he needs to do. That's how things need to go. And who knows if Kelly's going to be able to do what she's got to do now that things seem to have chilled out a bit for him within the swag Civil War or whatever that was. That eventually somehow kind of sort of led to whatever. And now we're just kind of stuck. We don't have I think he's kind of lost in storyline at this point, and it seems it's more focused on whatever issues Grace has with Shannon because of them kicking out Shannon and team corruption, more so or less at this point. Not just the faction itself, I mean, but, more primarily them because of them kicking him out. Ken's whatever at this point, it seems. But yeah. But good for Grace in terms of, the engagement thing, I guess. But overall, I really did enjoy this freaking... Yeah, I did enjoy this match. I guess in terms of pay-per-view, situations. I mean, there's not too much. And somehow they decided to finally to cap off what was a great match between Deception and pretty tight teams match between Deception uh, and why am I forgetting Danger Zone? That was dumb of me. But anyways, I liked that. I was very enjoyed of that. It's really good stuff. I mean, until I'm gonna say, Shannon, I'll get a beer with you. This Queen of Corruption you're dealing with here. What the fuck was that shit? Dungeon has no class? Bitch, please. Yes, we do. And if you fucking think Kalinowski's got that much of a chance, I'll give him I'll say he'll make it a nail biter. Because, I mean, he's 2-time champ for nothing. But honestly, Mara probably needs this more. Because she'll have, Mara probably needs this more than Kalinowski necessarily. Kalinowski's done enough. But, because he's a 2-time champion. Now, the only thing he needs to do, I guess, maybe an IG. He's been a 2-time champ already in Corruption. They don't have two. I mean, he doesn't have that much to prove. As long as he plays a great game, even if he doesn't win, as far as I'm concerned, he's proven enough. You know? But Mara, she's been gone a while. She has a way more to prove. And one thing for sure is that she never had a chance to retain. Be one of the few players in IG that could retain. And I felt like she could have been that player. Hell, I feel like Smet should have been that player. But something happened in that fucking match that the colon cancer got to him, clearly. It was more him fighting that more than whatever and that news and shit. Way more than whatever was going on in that match. I think that's really what happened. I think that's really what happened because I think he was just that distraught from it. He was fighting the cancer. He wasn't fighting Chandra. So he was facing Smetsy and he didn't get TKO'd. And I don't believe anybody's going to get TKO'd or knocked out. It's going to be a fight. I don't even know if it's going to really go for sudden death for sure, but it probably might go to the last question. And I'm hoping that Mara pulls out the win and does something that Kalinowski has yet to do, and that's retain that belt. Or just a belt in general. Something... Well, yeah, Roka has technically in teams. But, with that. But we'll see what happens here. If maybe there's a chance that, like, whoever's going to wind up winning the finals... more than likely, Corruption's going to have is clearly going to have their hands full, and I'm hoping more so it's Danger Zone than it is Rushmore. But I do believe Rushmore will eventually get there at some point later down the line. For now, let the dungeon have their time, okay? Because after last season, we need it more than fucking Finstock Chains. At least they were in the fucking top 3, if anything, maybe 4. They were at least in the top of the factions. We weren't exactly dead last. We were going to be stuck there, but luckily, thanks to the last-minute wins we had, and Burning Druids being the dumpster fire it was, we weren't dead last, but we were handed the dead last since the only good gift about dead last, which was having the first pick, and we benefited from that massively, and we're going to benefit again come that pay-per-view. What did you guys think of the matches, including that Patreon match? Hopefully that will get you to subscribe to the Patreon and maybe, hopefully, like everybody else, catch up with what goes on with these pay-per-views at the very least. And plus, there hasn't been that, there hasn't really been that many exhibitions at least pay-per-view, Patreon exhibitions this season. And I'm guessing that one could have been one, but they decided to make it public for some reason just to get more people interested. And plus, Top Gun had an anniversary thing, I guess, so they had to make it public. I don't know if it was a temporary public thing or what, but I'm hoping not. But yeah, I liked the matchup, even though I had no idea most of the Top Gun stuff. But it was cool. At least I preferred that over whatever that Bachelor thing was on Twitch. Excuse me. Ugh. But yeah, Shannon, you just, no. Chill the fuck out. Chill the fuck out. Are you fucking kidding? No. No. I've chilled out. And I think you need to too. You need to just, I know you're having your frustrations because of your issue with Grace and all this other stuff. But, no. No. I don't know what that was upstairs, but anyways. What did you guys think? Leave a comment below, let me know. Rock that like button with thrust if you must, if you like this video. Also, link in the description, like and follow me there on Facebook. You can see me look around Twitch and all that other stuff. And then also hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell here on YouTube. You'll probably find me eventually around stereo and stuff. And you'll probably find me lurking around. Just looking around through also dungeon page in the description below. Might do something eventually. Aside from just the random posts here and there. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown. Schmoedown rocks. Skybound Entertainment, so on and so forth. It's cooking. Oh yeah, dig it with the five time. Yeah, five time. Dungeon is the fire. Dungeon, we got fun games and 2 belts, baby. Which is also the home of the five time Schmoedown singles champion of the world. Dan Murrell. Now, can you dig that, sucker?